Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting update from TCG News. My name is Peter Jank and I want to share with you guys my top 6 steps of how to design or create, whether it be a TCG or any card game or even any board game. And these 6 steps definitely have helped me out in pretty much every project. Now, depending on what you're doing, these steps might help you in different orders of the steps. You don't have to particularly go in this order. This is the order that I choose to go in most of the time, but sometimes it just depends. Let's kick it off with step 1. Step 1 is, what kind of game do you want to make? Are you looking to make a TCG? Are you looking to make a board game? Are you looking to make any kind of new groundbreaking kind of game that nobody's ever seen? It's really kind of up to you. So for my example here that I have here, so I've obviously for Spellbook, I wanted to go for like a simpler, more streamlined kind of like Magic the Gathering, where you're casting all sorts of spells. So the very first thing I'm looking for is what can I possibly do to make this a little bit different? So that kind of goes into Step 2. Step 2 is a very important step, and that is, what do you want to implement? Meaning, what are the differences between your game and that other game? That other game meaning something that may inspire you and kind of give you that inspiration to create the game at hand. So right here, again, using Spellbook for an example, we have a basic spell just like Magic the Gathering. But what I did differently here is I gave these elements, and each card has its own combination of elements and things like that. And then it's got some subtext, and then what it actually does and things like that. And that is what I do to pretty much implement crazy ideas that I would imagine that nobody's come up with yet. But I'm sure there's other people just like you and I who would come up with these ideas. So, step 3. Step 3 is a very important step. So I kind of stuck with this Magic the Gathering theme for this, for this game particularly. But step 3 is the theme. So what you want to do is kind of give your game a theme. Are you going to be making a fighting kind of game where you're more of the fantasy-esque, or are you going to go with more of a cool 8-bit video game kind of game? Or are you going to go with dreams like DreamScape here? It's really up to you on how you want to do this and what kind of works the best for the kind of game you're working with and the kind of ideas that you have. And it's kind of just working together to try to see what you can do to mesh. There's many different variations of games out there, between fighting games, dueling games, board games, adventuring, RPG, all these different crazy Euro games, and all these different ideas. So it's really what theme works best for you for the kind of game that you're trying to make. The next step, which is a very important step, is step 4, and that's the rules. What are you going to do in this game, and what guidelines are you going to follow? So for example, now I've got notebooks filled with random shenanigans. I've got all these little note things that I've constantly written down, and all these ideas that floated. I have a notebook that I'm even reading out of that's just filled with a whole bunch of ideas. And this is a very, very important part to any kind of game, because these are the guidelines that not only you should understand, but you want to try to make sure that the person that you're playing with understands very well as the game goes on. So for DreamScape right here, I've got the how to play and stuff like that, and I kind of go into these debuffs, and then I start counting all the different cards per set that I'm going through. But you got a lot of different things that you want to make sure that everybody's well aware of while they're playing the game. And that's a very important part of any game, because you want to know how to play the game before you actually play it. I mean, you can go with the old saying, don't judge a book by its cover, but that may be too cliche. Step 5, which is what a lot of people kind of do first, and most of the time, I'm not going to lie, most of the time I start with the art as well. Sometimes it's kind of, it's a great stepping stone. So step 5 is art. Where are you going to get your artwork? Are you going to produce your own artwork? Are you going to design your own templates, your own, even your own illustrations? For DreamScape, for example, we all came together to create this game. All I did was simply make a template, and hopefully one of these days I can show you guys how to make a template, which would be another great video for you guys to watch. But it's what are you going to put on these templates, and design and art is such a huge thing, and this is why I go with like step 2, where what do you want to implement, because you don't know what you're really going to implement or how to design this until you know what you're going to implement. And I've talked to a couple designers and a couple of you guys before, and I want to help you guys on making your own template. But for DreamScape, for example, I knew that I wanted every card to have their own life and the name of the card. And then of course I needed a type, so I needed somewhere to be putting that type at, and then a strength and weakness, just some reference points there. And of course an area to put any abilities and things like that. And I knew that making cards common, uncommon, and rare was a very important part of this, because that's what TCG is getting that rare card. So obviously, I wanted to make this a pretty big thing in this game as well, and then, enough room that it's big enough to showcase you guys as well. But, same thing with all these other games. If we take this Brain Beast from Quest for Lost Pixel, this one was a little bit more of a process, because this is a board game opposed to a TCG. So I had a lot more elements kind of floating through my head, but obviously I knew I wanted each monster to have life and an attack, and then, even a defense, and then all these elemental stats just kind of came to my head while I was playing this game, Enchanted Cave 2. And I was like, you know what, I'd really like to implement that somehow into a card game, and then that's when really the wheels started going, and I was like, oh sweet, I think I have a really good base. So it's really taking all those steps and trying to figure out what you want in a game, and then designing your cards. Step 6 is a very important step as well, and that is to have fun. You need to have fun to do it. Don't make it like a job. Make it a hobby. Make it something that you enjoy doing. Every single day I'm always working on new cards, and every single day I'm constantly trying to think of a new idea and what to do to make that next new sweets design, or that next new rule that stands out from other card games. And even taking this newer game that I'm working on right now, I've already got most. If anybody knows Heat Stroke at all from set 2 from DreamScape, obviously that's one of the card arts that I've designed. You guys know, I'm always trying to work on something new. There's plenty of different games out there. There's plenty of different crazy things out there, and those are my 6 basic steps on how to create a card game. Hopefully in the future I can show you guys how I design templates and how I kind of go about, my thoughts and why I'm designing templates and how these thoughts kind of come to mind. But besides that, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week. Hopefully you have a great holiday, and I will catch you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.